it's Jeff from JeffTV. How's it going? So today we've got another bow review, another bow from Hungary, and another Grozer actually. This one here, it's called the Hungarian base. So it's a Magyar style bow, and it's sort of from between the 9th to 11th centuries is what it's based on. It's obviously it's a modern bow. It's made with fiberglass and wood, but it's the way that they've made it. It looks quite authentic. So anyway, we'll have a look at this. So you get, this is the sleeve it comes with. It's kind of a polyester nylon sleeve. Not that impressive really, but the bow. Remember that I was really impressed. Just step back a sec there. Remember I was really impressed with the build quality of the Grozer, the biolaminate bow that I had reviewed earlier. Well, this is this is a fiberglass bow. Again, it's called the Hungarian base, but you can see the build quality on this. I mean, look at this. Look at these. They've got like some form of hardwood knock in there. This is ash, flax. This is deer skin on here. There's wood ash on the side of the grip. More flax windings on there. Little bracing. Look at that. And now that sear. Actually, sear is not quite the right term. Sear is right for Asiatic Archery, but recently I discovered this document, and I kind of want to discuss that with you a bit with reference to this bow. I discovered this document written by a guy called Peter Benczyk, or Peter Benczyk, actually, I think. It was written actually in 2011. This is it. You see it here. And it's the Hungarian bow of the 9th to 11th centuries. And it was an attempt by bowyers and the Hungarian Archery Federation to create a standard for biocomposite bows, so that people who turned up to do competitions were on a level playing field, and so that they were, you know, using the same build materials, but that it was a traditional style Hungarian bow. And so what they did was they put this document together, and in here outlines exactly how the bow is supposed to look, the length, the materials it's made from, the angles, all these different angles on here, and this pretty much, even though it's a fiberglass bow made by Grozer, the sears are perfect. I mean, if you look at the pictures in this document, I'll show you. If you look at the pictures from the original finds, so what they did was they went back to the original grey finds with the archaeological notebooks, and they looked to see how, you know, where the pieces were found, so they could create the geometry, the correct geometries of the bow. And you can see on here, look, you can see that very clearly, but you can see here, this is some of the pictures of the plates, the bow plates with the sears basically, and they're identical to this, absolutely identical, where this is about a 1/3 to 2/3 ratio, and the angle in here is exactly the same, and the bracing, they had bracing here and here. Now I understand why they make them this way, why they do them this way. I couldn't figure it out before. And also the width on here is supposed to be a maximum of 45 mil. This one's 40, but I think it's between 38 and 45, somewhere around there. So I could never figure out why they did them so large, even the fiberglass ones. And now I know it's because these bows are based on that standard, which is a good thing. Authentically, and the way that they look, yes. But the way that they function, maybe not quite. Maybe not quite. We'll look at that when we shoot this. Anyway, this document, you can find it on the internet. If you're really into want to find out what an authentic bow is supposed to look like from the 9th to 11th century, a Magyar style bow, because that's what the Hungarians were called, the Magyar people, before they were called the Hungarians. This one here, this is what you got. So it's Peter Benczyk, the Hungarian bow of the 9th to 11th century. It's a recommendation for bow construction, and it's now the document that's used by the Hungarian Archery Federation. Very interesting read. And so if you get a bow, you might want to compare, particularly if you get a Magyar bow. I can pretty much tell you that the Grozer bows, they're perfect. They fit within that completely, within the specifications. Now, back to this bow. Remember I said we're talking about the sears? This is called a seer, with the bash and the kazan, the bash and the kazan. Those are Persian terms, Arabic terms. Well, when they created this document I'm talking about now, the Paitabensic document, they actually also they changed the nomenclature because people were using all different forms of nomenclature and there was nothing standardized. So this is now called the grip. This is the limb. This part here where it joins, that's called the shoulder. This part here where it bends, that's called the elbow. So it's kind of based on the arm, you know. Up here, this is called, the seer is now called the ear. And it's broken down into two parts. You've got, hang on, I've just got to make sure I get this around the right way because it's all new to me as well. The neck, that's right. So this is the neck, this part, and this is the ear here. So, but the whole thing's called the ear, but if you like, they break that down into the neck and the ear. And it kind of makes sense in a way because if you think of it as, you know, and you know, we call this the belly of the bow, you know, and the back of the bow. So it's correct if you think, you know, shoulder, elbow, ear, neck, and that's the actual ear part there. Although this whole thing is called the ear. I know that's a bit confusing, but it's in English, you know, so you don't have to try and remember these Persian words, which, you know, they don't sit easily in the memory because they're not words that we use every day. Whereas, you know, using these English terms is much easier to understand. Anyway, so yeah, I just thought you'd like to know that because I don't know anyone who's talked about that in terms of the English nomenclature. So yeah, I was quite happy to find that, and if that's the first, then yeah, and I've introduced you to that, and I'm happy that to have informed you of something new. Right, so let's get back to this bow. It's the build quality, as you would expect from Grozer. It's just really magnificent. There's not a flaw on it. Everything's rounded. The inserts are done perfectly. The whipping here, the way that the deer skin has been put on, you can barely see the join. You know, I used to work as a leather worker, and you know, to try and get a feather join like that, it's really good. They've done a really nice job. So some sort of deer skin on here. I'll just move that string out of the way. The string's a lovely string as well. It's well made. It's not a horrible orange one, Dacron. It is made of Dacron, but it's white at least, so, or sort of a slight tan colour. And obviously it's fiberglass inside here. So let's have a look at some of the specifications now. Cost. It's 170 euros. So this is the Hungarian base bow. It's 170 euros plus shipping. Shipping to Australia is going to cost you about somewhere in the region of 100 euros. That's not bad. That's not bad. 270 for a bow of this quality. That's pretty good. The poundage on this one is 37. Now I assume that's 37 at 28. It feels like 37 at 28, but I don't have any way of sort of measuring that at home. So the maximum draw is 32 inches, and there's no minimum arrow recommendation, but from working out the F value, it comes to 323 grains. Again, you know my thoughts on this. A fiberglass bow, even a 37-pound one, 323 grains. That's going to be a teeth shaker, definitely. If you shoot arrows that light, my recommendation, because I have a kind of formula and a spreadsheet that I work through, I'm going to say about 500 grains I think will make this shootable and make it pleasant to shoot. It'll be shootable less than that, of course. You can shoot 340 grain if you like, something like that, 323 upwards, but I don't think it's going to be a pleasant shooting experience. Anyway, excuse me. Now, it's 745 grams in weight. Again, the Grozer, the previous Grozer, which was the bio-laminate, that was 630 grams, and that was a 60-pound pull. So you get an idea of the kind of weight increase that you're getting from the fiberglass. But you get the durability from the fiberglass. It's pretty much indestructible, but it's still made, the thickness of the fiberglass and the width of it is still this 1980s technology. Even though it's stunningly well made, it's still this 1980s technology. And I think, personally, I think Grozer should look at, you know, some more modern forms of fiberglass rather than this real heavy stuff. You know, there's lots of new innovations in fiberglass usage now, you know, like the Bear Glass, which is coming out of America. That's much more lightweight and it's still the same poundage. So, you know, I think they could lift their game in terms of the fiberglass that they're using. Build quality, great. The way it looks, aesthetically and authentically, great. Not happy with that heavy fiberglass though. Anyway, length of the bow strung is 56.25 inches. The length nock to nock is 56.5 inches, and that gives us an F value of 0.57. So that's not bad actually. As I say, I prefer if it's closer to 0.6. You tend to get a nicer draw experience. So 0.57, you know, it's in the right area. The arrow pass is quite narrow. I measured it, it's 28 millimeters across here. That's nice, that's good for accuracy. The narrower the arrow pass that you can make it, obviously it's there's a bit of a sort of dynamic tension between not making it too narrow, because if you make it too narrow then the handle flexes too much when you shoot, and that's not a nice sensation. You want the handle to be, you know, stiff. So 28 mil, that's not bad. It's not the thinnest, but it's pretty thin. It's good. Grozer are good at that actually. The string serving is really nice. It's really well made. I mean, look at that. But it is nylon. I think it's like almost like a fishing line on top of it. It doesn't make a very durable string serving though. The string loops are good, well made. The Grozer have got that down pat. So what's the knock? Let's have a look at the knock. So the knock actually has this, these are ash, so the ears are ash, but the actual knock, there's an insert in there, and I don't know if you can see that very clearly, but I think that's oak. It could be, it's hard to tell, it could be oak or it could be some exotic hardwood, I'm not sure, but it's definitely a hardwood. So, and I mean, that's put in magnificently. So that's ash. There's some ash on the sides here, deerskin, flax bindings or whippings. Very well made. Now let's have a. We should string this. We should string this, shouldn't we? Now we'll see which is the longer one. That one's the longer one, I think. So that's the one that goes on the bottom. You can always tell the top because it's the one where it says Grozer on there. So we'll put that on the bottom. String this. So it's 37 at 28. Oh, it feels quite stiff. There we go. Nice and straight. Yeah, that's a nice height. Now see that's a typical feature of a Hungarian bow. There's no string bridge here. There's nothing. There's no pad, there's no string. It's not supposed to have one. And that angle there, that's very specific. I think it's like 150 degrees it's got to be. I think they measure it like that way. Oh, that way. From there round to there, I think it's got to be greater than 150, but less than 180. Oh, I can't remember. It's in the specifications. You can check it out. But that I measured it before, and that was the right angle. Right. So it's very. Look at the curves on it. It's very nice. It's a great looking bow. You know, I want this bow to shoot well. I really do. I like it. It's very good looking. So let's have a look. I'm just gonna. So this is. It's stiff straight away. As soon as you start to pull, it's stiff. Can you hear that? Grozer bows seem to be very. The strings emit this kind of high pitch hum when you pluck them. It's not low. They're really, which means they're quite stiff at the beginning, and you can really, that's, you know what I mean, that's stiff straight away. But you're only supposed to be pulling it to 28. Yeah, it's a bit unforgiving in some ways. Yeah, It's not that it's stacking, it's just that it's not relaxing. I know this is quite a new bow, and so it could be that it just needs to be shot a few more times to kind of, you know, get these working a little. But yeah, yeah, it's a bit stiff, Let's have a look. What have we got? Any more information? No, that's pretty much all the technical specs. I think what we're going to do is I'm going to move up to the target up there, and I'm going to shoot a few arrows, and we're going to see how it feels. Kind of interested to see how it goes. I mean, that's like I said, you can see it there. It's a very authentic looking bow for 9th to 11th centuries. Any Viking reenactors are doing Eastern Viking reenactment, you know, Grozer, that's where you've got to go to really if you want a bow that looks the part. You probably wouldn't know that this had fiberglass limbs in here, because the originals were actually, they either covered in leather or birch bark actually. I like the fact that they put deerskin on this. It's really quite cool. So 170 euros, that's not bad. That's not bad, I like that. But I should stop talking and we should go and do some shooting, shouldn't we? Yeah, go on in, let's go.